What's going on? What's going on, guys? What's good? What's good? We are live. What is going on, guys? Good evening. Got a little late night stream tonight. What's good? Loves Eric says, "Yo, what's good?" W Mans, thank you. I appreciate it. Little late night stream, little 9 a.m. or 9 p.m. stream. I'm used to the 9 a.m. stream, so this is a little bit of a change, but gotta love it, right? CPI, pre-CPI day. Sorry, guys, I'm tweeting the link on my main Twitter so we can give everybody a minute to get in here. What's good? Good evening. What's up, fam? Wild day? Yeah, wild day today for sure, no doubt. So weird. Bitcoin and all these growth names decided to rip. Not insanely surprising, but what's good? What's good? I know. I think 9 p.m. is good for a lot of the people that are on the West Coast too, because I know that it's obviously, it's like 6 p.m. there. So I sometimes, I did this in the past at like 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then I just figured 9 o'clock would probably be better. So what's good? What's good? Yeah, I know. I think I always forget there's like such a large amount of people on the West Coast. So I don't know how you guys do the time change, but I really enjoyed Colorado. I love the time schedule out there. It's like you're done at like 9 o'clock in the morning trading, because obviously, they're 2 hours behind East Coast time. So that was like elite schedule. East Coast, like Virginia area. Yeah, and for parents too, definitely. Sweet. I'll definitely take note of the time being ideal at 9 p.m. So got a lot to talk about tonight, though. I'm going to give everyone basically probably another 2 minutes to kind of get in and hop in the stream. I know that it's been a crazy market lately. Definitely a ton to talk about, but I'm going to give everyone about 2 minutes. Till then, just chilling. So yeah, but I know that the late night streams can definitely be helpful for people, especially people with kids and stuff like that too. So hopefully this is a good time. It's so weird. It's like, 12 hours exactly from when I do the morning stream in the room. So it's, it's like I just showered and like ate dinner and now I'm streaming again. So yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm from Virginia. Yep. All right, guys. So we're going to get started here in about 1 minute. Like I said, a ton to cover. I'm going to, obviously cover a bit of the macro situation that's kind of going on right now because that's so important. But like I said, was your first video, man's videos quiet? What's good? My first account size, I think like $1,000 from my stimulus check. Did it come back? We good? Should be unfrozen now. Sometimes when I do the public streams, guys, there's like a ton of people. So, okay, cool. All right, guys. So I think kind of give everybody a minute to get in. Pardon me if I'm sweating a little bit. My office just, I think, rose like 15 degrees. So wanted to welcome everybody. This is the CPI prep stream. If it's your first time on a stream, welcome. I try to do these at least every other month prior to the CPI print. This is going to be about a 45-minute long stream. I'm going to go over basically my top watch list and focus for after the CPI print, which is tomorrow. We've had quite the insane market the last 4 or 5 days. So I'm going to try to cover as much as I can, keep things condensed and try to get straight to the point. I'm going to cover probably 4 to 5 tickers here, 1 or 2 short side tickers, and then 3 to 4 different long tickers that I'm going to be looking at really closely tomorrow. I'm going to try to dig into SPY QQQ a little bit and then kind of just give my overall game plan for the day going into tomorrow. So really appreciate everybody watching. Hopefully I'm able to actually talk tonight. That would be really cool. But yeah, welcome. If you are new, make sure you do like and subscribe on the stream. That'll let you get notified every time we go live and do one of these streams. So appreciate everybody tuning in, and let's kind of get into it. So like I said, guys, it's been a pretty insane last few days in the market. Everybody is probably aware by now. We've had kind of a reeling from the SVB collapse, which is Silicon Valley Bank. I'm going to try to get through the macro side of things relatively quickly, but obviously this has caused the Fed to intervene. And with that intervention, we've seen yields absolutely crumble the past couple of days, right? Currently, right now, we are pricing in now a 35% chance of the Fed going to a pause at this March meeting. And then we are basically pricing in, as of right now, actually an 80% chance of a 25 basis point hike. Obviously, guys, there's a lot of uncertainty surrounding that upcoming rate hike. What is happening right now with the banking system has definitely thrown a wrench in what was the tightening cycle plan for the Fed going forward. So, like I said, this drop in yields, obviously, normally that would be bullish for growth in tech names. I actually think that, we're kind of seeing yields drop because we've got this major economic problem. And in that case, it's not really bullish for anything. However, as you guys know, I'm primarily a price action trader. I'm not, here to tell you what I think is going to happen next week or, in 3 weeks. I'm really here to go over what I think is going to happen in the short term, 1 to 2 days. So that is really going to be the gist and the point of the stream going forward. So, did I trade coin today? I did not. I stayed away. Rutgers got screwed in the tournament. Absolutely 1,000%. So, order block at the bottom. These are all my level 2. So we have like BTC USD. These are my level 2 screens. There's a full video on how I constructed my Webull setup if you'd like to check that out, and that's on my channel. So, the first chart I do kind of want to go over, guys, is going to be the S&P 500. Obviously, today was, a pretty interesting day. We did bounce off 380, really big bounce off the open this morning. Like I said, guys, going into tomorrow, my primary short focus is going to be relatively simple, and that's going to be on the S&P 500 and Nvidia. And so I'm going to cover the 2 short names that I'm going to be looking at first and kind of why I'm looking at them. And then I'll kind of get into the long side trades that I am also looking at. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up the flow on Nvidia because this is something I kind of wanted to focus on and point out because it definitely took note of it today. Quick little temperature adjustment. All right, so this is the flow on Nvidia from today, guys. The reason that I wanted to kind of first, gravitate towards this ticker is this is one of the names that I think kind of showed relative weakness today. If you guys know my trading style at all, if you don't, that's okay too. I am, heavily focused on shorting names with relative weakness and longing names that demonstrate relative strength. And this is some extremely bearish short-term flow that we saw in Nvidia today. This is only one confirmation point. I never trade off of flow solely. However, I did notice I really look for like high 6-figure and 7-figure orders when I do look at flow. I'm using Cheddar Flow if anybody is wondering. Any flow platform will work, but the one that really stood out to me was at 1249 today. We saw a $1.4 million put sweep on the Nvidia 230 puts. So those are basically at the money at the time. And that is for the April 21st expiration. We also saw basically within that, 1 hour time frame, another $1 million worth of the 225, 230, and then the 225 puts got hit again. So that expiration's been hit really heavily, guys, with some extremely bearish short-term flow. And whenever I see that, I'm always going to kind of come over to the chart and see what it's displaying as well, right? So once I do that and I come over to Nvidia today, if you look at some other high growth names, there were a lot of relative strength names today, right? Especially within like Coinbase, a lot of the Bitcoin names, but ARKK was the clear outperformer today, right? So going into tomorrow, I know that the high growth names definitely have that kind of strength and bid behind them, right? We saw ARKK up, I believe, 2.7% today. 2.67%, whereas we basically saw SPY and QQQ relatively flat, right? So SPY, just want to double check. Yeah, so, down 0.1%, fractional move, and then QQQ, right, up just a little bit under 1%. So definitely some strength in tech, right? We clearly saw where the leadership was today. I think that move was probably pretty highly motivated by what yields did, right? Now, that being said, if I see tech with relative strength and a name like Nvidia with relative weakness, going into tomorrow, this is going to be a name that I highlight as a name that I want to focus on to the short side, because even in a stronger tape for tech today, even though maybe it didn't look like it, we saw a name like Nvidia displaying a lot of relative weakness kind of compared to the overall market. And really what stood out to me was the resistance that we saw up here at 232, right? So that combined with the flow that we did see, I really think that this opens up if we can get a clean move under 230 tomorrow. So if that print does come in hot and we see a clean move under that 230 to 228 zone, guys, I think this does have potential to fade down towards 226 and then maybe even the 222 level below. The weekly chart here is really what kind of leads me to being a little bit more short side bias on this name. If you guys look, we had this extremely bullish, long lower wick 2 weeks ago, and then last week we just kind of sold hard off of it. If I'm a continuation trader and I'm on Nvidia, I'm going to be looking for continuation to the upside off of that candle, right? This one right here. We have that long lower wick. The body of the candle gets pushed up, and I'm going to be looking for continuation. That's one of the more bullish weekly candles I've seen in a while. And for us to fade off of that candle, I think that we could see some weakness, especially given the sell volume that we did see on Nvidia, right, last week itself. So this is definitely going to be a name. I just went over the flow, but we saw obviously multiple seven-figure put orders for this for April. Does that mean it has to fade? No, it doesn't mean it has to do anything. We're still over that 230 area on the Nvidia daily, which I think is a really, really important spot. But like I said, guys, given the flow and given the relative weakness, whereas we saw continuation in names like Mara Coin, ARKK, right? Some of those really high beta growth names, I'd rather trade those to the long side given the bid that's there, right? Whereas if I'm going to be looking for relative weakness, I'm going to be looking at something like the S&P 500 or Nvidia. The S&P 500 obviously has the exposure to the financial sector. We all know what a mess that is right now, right? So that is kind of how I approach things. And the night before CPI, what my process looks like, right, is going to be multifaceted, right? Because I want to use the chart, I want to use the macro conditions, and I want to use the flow because that's kind of a third confirmation point for me, right? And so just to give anyone like a little bit of insight into how this goes, each and every night, I'm basically just taking you through exactly what I do, right? So I come to my desk. Yes, I have a standing desk only. I don't even own a chair anymore. I just stand here all day long. So hopefully my legs are getting super strong. But, like I said, I really just come here and I look at the hourly, daily, weekly chart, and I work my way back. Just like I just did with you guys, I'll go to the weekly, I'll go to the daily, and then I'll make my way to the hourly, right? And so again, I think the key levels here on Nvidia that I want to pay attention to, really, of course, 228 has obviously been soaked. If we see this demand area kind of get sold through in 228 down to 227, this is going to be a name that I want to focus on to the short side. And again, really one of the bigger names that I'm going to, primarily use as my downside vehicle if we get a hot print, right? And of course, we are expected to see I believe they have core coming in at 5.5 right now is the estimate. And core CPI is really the number that I want to pay attention to, right? I think that's really the number that the Fed is paying the closest attention to. And therefore, that's the number that I really want to take heaviest into account when it goes through my trading, right? So again, that's the setup for me, guys. The S&P 500 technically does not look bullish to me right now. But again, I'm going to follow the price action and the tape, right? And I think you've got a lot of really bearish sentiment right now. You've got a very oversold market, from a technical standpoint, at least as of this morning. And again, you've got a lot of headline risk. I can't, emphasize that enough. But while the Fed is stepping in and etc. We saw this morning that things can change quickly, right? Like, so FRC headline comes out, entire market takes a dump, right? So it's going to be really important to monitor the banks tomorrow, even with the CPI report happening. I really think that the move that we're seeing in yields, the adjustment to the terminal rate that the Fed is making, which is now pricing in, a much lower terminal rate, so lower, right, for like sooner than people are expecting, I think is arguably more important, right? So unless we get a print that deviates heavily from the expected, personally, I am finding it easier right now to find long setups after the move that we've had the past few days than I am short setups, right? And whenever that happens, I do tend to like focus a bit more prep on the side, which I believe is kind of, gearing towards that. So quick little note on that. Man's got them Saquon Barkley legs, bro. I wish I could get quads like that, but I can't. I really can't. I tore my ACL though in college, so like my legs have kind of, honestly, it's regrettable, but never been the same. I don't know why, but after the ACL tear, it was just like I'm never gonna be able to squat that much again. All right, so let's get into the long side trade and the setups that I'm going to be watching. I'm going to cover 3 names here and go over my top watch as far as S&P 500 levels go. Sorry, guys, I had to retweet the link out because the stream froze for a minute, and whenever there's a ton of people that join all at once, it kind of gets frozen. So I appreciate you guys bearing with me here as far as my technical difficulties go. The public streams are always weird because like YouTube just decides to like glitch out and not cooperate. So cool. Cool. All right. Sweet. All right, so let's kind of get into what I'm going to be looking at tomorrow on SPY. Why? So like I said, guys, the process for me is relatively simple when I'm preparing for like a binary event like this, right? When I say a binary event, I'm saying that, there's going to be this outside catalyst that's going to give us a move, one way or the other. Any discounts for the Discord? Honestly, we made the Discord $99 a couple months ago. So I think it's super affordable now. It's like $3 a day if it comes out to it. So we did lower the price. The link is in the description if you want. It's also on my Twitter. I do these streams every single morning and then every single Tuesday as well. So if anybody does want to join, the link is there. Again, I really want to do focus on the prep for tomorrow. When I come to the desk, guys, like I said, I want to work my way back weekly, daily, and hourly, right? On every chart that I look at, it's the same process over and over again. And so when I come to the daily on the S&P, right, I don't think this is the prettiest daily candle print, but it's on really high volume, right? And we've basically come back and retested this major area of support from December, right? If you come back and look, this 377 to 380 area was a really massive area of support if you go back to December, right? Because we consolidated there for what, like 13 days straight, right? So this massive consolidation period that we had in December is basically giving you the blueprint, in my opinion, as to why we're seeing so much support at that level like we saw at 380 this morning, right? That area from December, if we come out to the weekly chart, right, look at how heavily they soaked this area back in December, right? Let's clear the levels and the lines for a minute. Let's just look at candle structure on the weekly, okay? Because this is important, in my opinion, in forming a thesis for, any day that you go into. There has to be the level of preparation. So if you look at these two candles, right, especially the third and fourth week of December, we soaked this area hard, and you can see that was demonstrated by those longer lower wicks that we saw, right? And then we got the breakout back up through 387, right? So if we come back, that was kind of the uptrend that started back in October. We really started to build that trend line in December, and then we obviously saw the breakout over the quote-unquote moat, which was the mother of all trend lines, which we've had since the S&P 500 top, right? To me, it depends how you draw your lines, and I'll let you guys kind of draw them whichever way you want. To me, it looks like we are still under the moat. But personally, guys, the way that this market works right now, it wouldn't surprise me at all if we ripped right back through 390 and, retested 400, right? This market has not been the cleanest from a technical standpoint, in my opinion. But, saying that, again, the way that I'm looking at things going into tomorrow, as long as we're over that 380 spot, which is that major kind of area of support from December, I'm probably going to be looking a little bit more long, just given the fact that we've already had such a large scale move down, in the past couple of days. What's going on, Lucid? Thank you. I appreciate you hopping in and showing some love. Appreciate that, guys. Almost 400 people in here, guys. That's awesome. I again, want to just thank everybody that is watching the stream right now or tuning in. If you'd like to rewatch the stream later, guys, you absolutely can. It'll be recorded at the link that we did the stream at, so you can go back, hit the stream link, and then you'll be able to go back and watch and kind of review anything. If you'd, choose to go and watch this again before you go to bed tonight and have some sweet dreams before CPI, go ahead and do it. Be my guest, of course. Yeah, I appreciate you guys tuning in. So, but again, if you really look at that area of demand structure that we had from December, that's kind of how I'm viewing things, right? From a purely risk to reward standpoint, again, it's a little bit easier for me to find long plays right now than high risk to reward shorts, right? Again, that being said, if we did break down through 380, I think that we would, again, going back to the daily, right? We've got that major area of demand from December and really a pretty strong area of support in this 377, maybe even down to 375 range, right? Again, the psychological level numbers have been huge. These 380, 390 style bounces, right? And where are we creating resistance right now, guys, right? Am I going to sit here and say that my trend lines are perfect? Absolutely not. I'm not going to say that. I'm sure one of you out there has a way better weekly trend line than I have right here. But I think we're kind of trying to retest the moat, right? And get back through that spot. And for me, this, 390 level is absolutely critical, right? Just because of the way that we kind of rejected up this morning, I really think that, again, this is going to be crucial to get at least an hourly close through 3,900 tomorrow, through 390 on SPY. I think that's going to be really, really critical, right? So, again, I think that's going to definitely be important. But again, I think that's the spot that I want to really pay attention to. Again, it's going to be an hourly close over that 390 level, over that 390.97 spot, and kind of getting through that resistance area for long side plays to see continuation, because that's been the problem in this market, guys, is that there's really very limited continuation. And so, again, if we're running into resistance at 390 tomorrow morning, I'm going to be more cautious about putting on longs at that spot because of the fact, right, that we've, had so much resistance there. I'm going to want to see a clean breakover and a close. I do, however, think that if we are going to see continuation, and again, this is just my opinion, we've had a really bottled up market for 2 weeks, right? We just went through Powell speaking for, 2 days straight, a much higher rate forecast. And then we've got the CPI catalyst this week. So I think if we're going to see some good moves, tomorrow would kind of be the day and through the rest of the week. So definitely coming prepared in that aspect. BTC USD. Let's talk about the strongest asset class today. You could call it a flight to safety. You could call it because interest rates, right? We saw yields push down. It's really hard to ignore this type of move, right? This is what looks like just classic bull market action. I mean, crazy, crazy move. If we look at the Bitcoin daily chart, guys, this is a wild move. Really, from the bottom of that range at 20K, and then we're getting just such a powerful move. This is extremely healthy daily candle structure here as well. And so going into tomorrow, I'm going to want to prioritize longs that match up with the strongest, risk asset, which in this case is BTC, right? So if we do see the print come in as expected, if we do see, right, not some massive, higher than expected print come in, I think we'll see Bitcoin continue its strength here. And I actually think we've got a pretty good chance at pushing this 25K level. And that's where the bigger trade opportunity presents itself for me, right? We've tested the 25K area multiple times. We rejected But this is basically the healthiest and the most momentum that we've had going into a 25K test so far. Again, you could call it a flight to safety, whatever, right? It doesn't really matter. Again, I'm primarily just focused on the price action here and trading what has relative strength. So I know a lot of people traded the coin move today. A few different people kind of DM'd me about it. That's awesome if you guys caught it. It was an insane intraday reversal. If we look at the hourly, guys, we went 50 to 62, up, just an absolutely massive move, right? Going into tomorrow, and of course, what a better way to, find relative strength during a banking crisis than looking at the crypto exchange, right? But there was no doubt, guys, this had a gigabid today, up, I think, 10.72%, an additional 1.9% after hours, 13% up day after being down 4%. You find the bid and you trade within it. That's kind of my philosophy going into these things. And again, the risk reward was pretty clear, right? So we've got a double bottom at that 50 level. And I think that's why you saw such a powerful move today. If anybody's wondering why did coin move like it did today, why did we see the bounce that we saw? Well, look at the hourly candle that we printed this morning, right? This was a really, really strong hourly candle. I'm a little bit upset with myself for not catching this, but we bounced off the 50 level again, right? Which is that level that we hit on the 13th, or excuse me, on the 10th. We hit that level again today, and we saw an incredibly strong bounce and buying pressure, right, through that 54 spot. And again, that is the type of structure that you're going to see traders come in and buy because they know that that overhead has room up to 57, 58. And the more that I look at this, if we look at the daily, and again, when I'm prepping for the next day, a lot of the times, guys, I'll remove my levels and really just look at the daily chart. And when I do that, right, this is starting to look a little bit like a failed breakdown to me, right? We get this candle that breaks out of this month-long range, and then what happens, right? We've got this, massive, right, bullish kind of engulfing candle off of that spot on really high volume, right? That's the other thing to note is we've got really, really high volume. Yeah, maybe you could argue with me that that's not an engulfing candle. I guess it's technically not, but you see this off a failed breakdown, guys. I think there's a lot of shorts in this name too. And I'm not going to come in super duper biased, but if I'm looking for relative strength, right, and if we see BTC move through that 25K level, which is a humongous psychological level resistance, I'm going to be looking to trade this to the upside because of the fact that I think Bitcoin on the daily has room to 28K, right, through 25. Because if we look, this is a massive, an absolutely, utterly massive resistance here at 25K. Right? And we can see that when we broke down, we moved very swiftly through this range from about 28K, right, down to this massive move down that we saw, right, in June. So really, that's going to be my target above. And so if I'm going to see 10% upside above on something like BTC, I'm going to look to trade the relative strength that goes alongside it, right? So again, that's going to be my top long focus tomorrow, guys. On the hourly, these are going to be the specific levels that I'm going to be looking at. It's really going to be the 61 to 61.30 range, right? Because the 61 level is what triggered the breakdown last week after the SIVB issues, right? And we saw that massive move to the downside, consolidation, move down again. So reclaiming this hourly support is what's going to be critical to me. If we do reclaim that hourly support, right, if we can reclaim that, that would kind of be a major area of support. If we see that turn back into support, I think that's definitely a really bullish catalyst for further upside here. And again, we've got pretty clean levels, right? So obviously we've got a lot of longer wicks up in this 65 area. So that's going to be where I would target a move to if we can reclaim that 61.30 area on the hourly, right? So again, looking at high of the day from today, guys, we've got 61.10 as that high of the day spot. An area where I would feel comfortable in terms of like higher risk to reward long ads would be in this 58.45 area, right? So if we get some type of flush towards this 58.45 spot, this would be an area that I would look to add calls. I'd probably look at like the 60 or 65 calls. If we see strong buyers present themselves on like the 15-minute at that 58.45 spot. So that's an area of support that I would look at. If you want to go down to the wick from today, right? If we stay in this base formation down to 57.80 even, this would be like a higher risk to reward type of long area for me. If we gap up on CPI, I would be looking for a retest of today's high at 61.10, right? So that's the double-sided trade plan there. Hey, bro, as always, awesome job explaining the preparation and focus analysis. Thank you. I try. Hopefully, if I'm not making sense, guys, you can let me know in the live chat. Maybe I'm just over here speaking gibberish, but I try to explain these things as if, like, I'm talking to a kid, because I think that, when I was learning how to trade, I had no clue how to say or, like, how to understand what most of the guys on these live streams were saying, and I was like, I'm so lost. So I always try to broach things from, if I was, like, really sitting down and learning this for the first time, because I know there's some extremely new people in the stream. So hopefully this is making sense to you guys. I'm trying to keep things very, very simple. I'm a simple trader. I don't like to overcomplicate things. I try to keep this game as easy as I can. And so that is, how I try to do things on the stream as well. So again, if you guys want me to like re-explain something, just let me know in the live chat, and I'll definitely do my best to kind of break things down as simple as I can. So all right, let's keep moving. So again, if we get a cool print, if we do gap up, again, guys, I'd be looking for a retest of a 61.10 spot, because that was our high of the day. So that was definitely what I'm going to be looking for. How long have I traded? Basically, 3.5 years now? So it's been a grind. It was basically like 2 years straight at first, though, with like no days off. Pretty much like 4:30 until 8 p.m. And so it was a lot of learning, and, traded Tesla like pretty much all summer, my first option summer. And that was like a whole learning experience, and it's been a grind. But all right, so let's kind of keep going. Definitely another name that I do want to watch in the crypto kind of space, I'll keep this one really quick, is going to be Mara. How many members are in our Discord? I think like right around 1,000 right now. So key levels from the weekly, daily, hourly time frame, right? What time frame are you looking at and trading intraday? My favorite time frame is the 15-minute in this market. That is all personal preference. Some people love the 5-minute. Some people love the 1 minute. It's what fits you and fits your system well. For me, the 15-minute is my go-to higher confirmation spot intraday. If it's really high volume trade, right? Like we've got like some type of catalyst that's moving things. Like for example, tomorrow, if Bitcoin is ripping through 25K, maybe I'm looking at the 5-minute on coin rather than the 15-minute. Especially in the mornings, right? I'll definitely be on the 5 to start off the day and then see how that first 15-minute candle forms. And then I really try to primarily base my setups off of 15-minute structure. So definitely, does that kind of clarify things as far as like what I use intraday? So, all right. So like I said, guys, another name that I am going to watch tomorrow. When is the price pre-market highs and after hours? Yeah, I do include pre-market and after hours, definitely. I think pre-market high is very, very important. Pre-market low is also very important. If you go back and look at SPY QQQ from today, they bounced directly off of those pre-market lows, and that's what the catalyst was for that technical bounce to the upside this morning. So I absolutely think there's a ton of importance in pre-market and after hours levels. That is me. Again, I think some traders would probably have an entirely different opinion on this. And I'm also not sitting here to claim that my system or the way that I go about things is like the best thing ever. It's just the way that I've done things, right? And the way that works for me. So again, I'm going to keep this one quick. Mara, definitely on watch for me as well tomorrow. If you look to me, the structure here and why I think we may see that Bitcoin breakout, this looks very similar to the structure that we saw in mid-February when we gapped up over 7, we went up to like $8, $9. It's a pretty clean break to the upside and definitely a really important pivot here in this 685 spot, which we closed just under. So this is something I want to watch, especially because of the daily volume that we saw here as well. Again, I'm throwing this one out here. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it, but it's a name that is definitely, in my opinion, it's definitely lagging the Bitcoin move. So, with rates coming down, although that could be ultimately a bearish catalyst for the overall market, I think that it looks like, at least for right now, a name like Mara had a giga bid today. If you really want to, if anybody watched it today, or if you were trading it, that is a great example of a stock having, like, you hear someone say like it has a gigabid or it has an all-day buyer. That stock was just like every single dip got soaked today. Like, look at the 15-minute chart, right? It's just like it's just the dips just get bought, right? It's just all day long, steady trend up, and they soaked it every single time, right? And really, really high volume on the daily. So that's why I like that setup as well. I always, if I'm going to trade coin, I'm looking at the Mara setup as well. So it's important to kind of understand like the sector and tickers that you're trading. All right, so the last name that I want to mention, possible bounce candidate, is going to be on Tesla. So Meta is a really good one as well. But again, I think I want to really highlight the Tesla weekly here. And I'm going to actually clear my levels and kind of go through this chart and show you exactly what I'm looking at and why, right? So what I'm looking at on Tesla is we have now retested, okay, almost perfectly on the Tesla weekly at this 162 level, right? And this is what I want to pay attention to, right? Because we have this massive breakdown. And again, guys, maybe, you don't need to look at weekly charts. I find it really important to look at weekly charts, even when I'm doing nightly preparation, because it's all about that how it ties in, right? And where you build your conviction. And oftentimes for me, higher time frame levels like that build into these trades more than, the 30-minute or whatever, right? So I really want to kind of emphasize that. But as far as a long watch, this was definitely had relative strength on Friday, consolidated today. And I really like the way that it bounced off of 162, right? So if we look at the 15-minute, guys, today's low on Tesla, I want to make sure I got this right. I believe it was right at that 162 spot, 163.92, right? Was our low today on Tesla. And if we look at the weekly chart, guys, if we go to the low of this candle right here, the week of February 3rd, our low was 162.78 on that candle, right? We've completed now a retest of that 162, 163 zone. And so what I'm going to be looking for here personally is going to be a retest of the distribution area that we saw form over the past 5 weeks, right? So if you look at the past 5 weeks, guys, we had basically some really nasty distribution on Tesla in this 190 to 205 range, right? If we look at the daily, it's a complete shit show. Sorry for the language. At least for the bulls, this is not good. This is ugly distribution. We faded off really nicely, $17 fade down, and then look at where we're sitting on the daily, right? We're sitting right back in that area of support, and this is the only place that in that 100% rally from the December lows where we paused, took a breather, consolidated, right, and gained more strength for a further move up. Therefore, I think that there is decent risk reward for a move to 185 because that's really the next major higher time frame pivot point that I'm going to be watching, right? So if the overall market has strength tomorrow, I like Tesla for a move up towards at least a retest of this 185, the bottom of kind of that distribution range, maybe even up to 190. So I would not be surprised to see that. I think that we're starting to see some buyers come back in on Tesla. And again, in all reality, we're just retesting that prior spot where we took a breather during that massive rally, right? It's also a higher growth name. Those have been displaying a little bit more strength, right? ARKK, maybe there's a thesis there, because ARK just bounced off of some very historical support at the 35 level. Personally, I like Tesla to catch a bid more than I like it not to catch a bid. So again, higher risk to reward long would fit for me there. If we kind of come down again into the lower time frame levels, if we come into like the hourly, guys, it's clear here that, for me at least, right, I'm a very simple trader. I think if we reclaim the 177 up to 178 area where we clearly had sellers present today, I do like this for a move back up to 185. I think there are cleaner charts on the market. That's why this is the third name that I'm covering. I think a name like Meta probably has an easier path of resistance upwards, right? Like just less overhead. But a name like Tesla is one that it usually sneaks up on you when it makes one of those 20-point moves in 3 days. And so I kind of wanted to mention this one because, again, I think that it's probably more beneficial for me to cover a name like Tesla on the weekly and showing where the consensus and thesis comes from. rather than like just purely focusing on what I think is going to move like with, the most velocity or the cleanest, right? So this is definitely a chart that I love in terms of the risk reward there. So I'd probably look at like the 180 calls or the 185 calls for that bounce trade. We have already kind of bounced again about $12 off of today's low. So if I was looking for a retest, like personally, I don't love trading Tesla on pullbacks. I'd rather like trade it when it has breakout momentum upside, which is a rarity in this market. And that's why I haven't been trading it as much. But I really wanted to kind of emphasize that on why I'm looking at Tesla. So hopefully that was helpful. So that's definitely a name I'm going to be looking at. And then on Meta, right? I'll quickly kind of mention this one. Meta looks great to me, guys. Fundamental catalyst here. Meta announced they are laying off up to 13% of their workforce on Friday, which I think kind of went under the radar. It's also been really, really strong, right? At this 180 level. And definitely a potential of trapping some shorts here with the way that it closed on Friday, right? Because you get the daily close below the 180 key level. And personally, these are my favorite trades, right? Is trading false breakdowns to the upside and trading false breakouts to the downside, right? Whenever shorts get trapped on false breakdowns or when longs get trapped on false breakouts, those are always usually my highest success rate type of trades. That's why you'll hear me talk about candle traps all the time. And so that is really one of my primary trading systems is trading false breakdowns on the long side and trading false breakouts to the downside. And really in this market, I think that trading those false breakdowns and false breakouts is a fantastic strategy because it plays into the range boundness of this market, right? This is a very range bound market. It's not like we've got, endless amounts of range breaks. We're in a range bound market right now, right? Or at least we have been. So definitely on Meta, a spot that I'm going to be watching really closely is going to be today's high. If we go to the hourly chart on Meta, I think we need to get through this 185 area. It's got a similar look to Tesla in a sense that there is some overhead resistance here. And again, as far as momentum goes tomorrow, I still think that the crypto names are where I want to be because of the bid they had today. But again, on the upside here, if we get through this 184.38 level on Meta, I do like this to the long side. Pullback wise, if we start to pull back to this 180 level again, right, and really form some strong support here, right? So we see, some hourly wicks, which extend down to 180.30. That's the bottom of that power earnings gap that we saw on the daily, right? Which is this 180.16 spot. So if we're looking at that power earnings gap candle and we want to defend that candle's low, I want to be looking towards the 180 area in terms of like higher risk to reward adds for me. So for Meta, do I see a cup and handle or a double top? That's a good question. I'll be super honest with you guys. I'm not a huge pattern, like wider time frame trader. So my system is really price action based, and I trade heavily off the tape intraday, and I'm really about price action and key support and resistance levels, right? I do think that I've been using the wedge breaks a lot lately because they've been hot in this market. But to me, what I see on Meta is definitely, some consolidation within a broader range. I personally think that I'm less inclined to short Meta because of the fact that they're like one of the only companies aggressively announcing job cuts. So the stock is naturally going to trade with a bid. It's also from a valuation perspective, and this is where it helps to understand valuations as a short-term trader. Meta's got, it trades at a very attractive, PE and for a while there was trading like a value stock. So hopefully that helps answer your question a little bit as far as like cup and handle or double top. So wow, shout out to the guy that dropped the 199 thing. I didn't even know chat revenue was a thing on YouTube Live. But yeah, that's going to be the primary like 5 to 6 names that I'm going to be looking at, guys. I went through my thesis of why and the reasons that I'm looking at those names, and it's really this simple, right? I mean, we basically just sat down for 45 minutes, reviewed all the charts that I want to look at and why I'm looking at them, and then the conviction behind them, right? And I do that same thing pretty much every night. Obviously, on a day before CPI, I'm always putting in maybe a little bit of extra prep, right? But I hope this stream was beneficial for you guys. I do these streams every single morning in our Discord on the pre-market live, and then we do intra-week post-market streams as well. I'll try to keep doing these live streams like once every other month for free on the public YouTube. Please don't forget, if you did enjoy this, drop a comment. Let me know what you'd like to see me cover next time. Go through what would be more helpful, and then make sure to like and subscribe, as it helps out the channel a ton. I really hope that this stream brought you some value and helped you prepare for tomorrow. And I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch. I know it's 9:49. I'm sure a lot of people are tired, but I really appreciate every single person that tuned in. Brian, thank you. Scott, thank you so much. Scott, the Discord's $99. Link is in my bio. But yeah, no, I really appreciate you guys tuning in. And you know, this has been really, really helpful. So, I hope it's brought you some value and helped you prepare for tomorrow, right? So I try to explain things simple. That's the whole point of this channel is, you know, if I was learning to trade again, that's why I do these streams and do the videos that we do, is I try to break it down as simple as possible. So thank you guys. I appreciate you guys all tuning in. Really had a blast. Thanks, man. Your Discord's life-changing. I appreciate that, Coop. So thank you, man. I appreciate it. If anybody wants the Discord link, I will post it right here in the chat. It's also in my Twitter bio, if that's easier. But again, guys, I'll try to do these every other month as well, and really try to, you know, keep doing the free live stream. So yeah, of course. Again, if you guys want to leave me a comment on this YouTube video, you can drop in there and just let me know what you'd like me to cover next time. As I mentioned, guys, this stream will be available for you to rewatch if you'd like to. All you have to do is click on the link you clicked on to watch the stream, and then I will go ahead and post the recorded link so you can go back. And again, if you want to watch me go through all those setups once again before you fall asleep, just let me know, and I will post the link on my main Twitter. Guys, I hope you guys have a fantastic CPI day. Trade safe and trade smart, and make sure you guys stick to those A+ setups. All right. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you guys for taking the time, and I'll see you next time. Peace. And yeah, we start pre-market at 9 o'clock. I'll be on the stream, and then I live voice trade from 9:30 till 11 in the Discord. So yeah, guys, thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it.